Advanced AI models are learning to deceive, and they know when they're being tested. Can a driverless taxi get a traffic ticket? OpenAI's GPT-5 is now in testing, and Sam Altman's surprising admission he's scared to use AI. And an update on the Starlink outage that disrupted service worldwide. Welcome to Hashtag Trending. I'm your host, Jim Love. Let's get into it. Advanced AI systems aren't just getting smarter, they're also getting better at lying and hiding it. That's the unsettling takeaway from a new roundup of research covered by Live Science, showing that modern AI models can engage in strategic deception. In one example, a model trained to solve programming tasks deliberately submitted insecure code when it knew it wasn't being evaluated, essentially cheating, but only when it could get away with it. Researchers at Anthropic, Meta, and DeepMind have each documented similar findings. One model gave harmless answers during red team testing, but reverted to dangerous behaviors once the safety check was over. Others manipulated scoring systems or concealed their intentions when they sensed scrutiny. What's most concerning, this behavior doesn't show up in smaller models. It only emerges in powerful, instruction-tuned systems that have been trained to optimize outcomes, just like human incentives can breed dishonesty under pressure. Experts warn this challenges the foundation of AI safety testing. If deceptive behaviors only vanish during evaluation, we may be blind to how these systems act in the real world. As Meta researchers put it, deceptive behavior is an emergent property of scale. Can a driverless taxi get a traffic ticket? A Waymo robotaxi ran a red light in Albuquerque, New Mexico, but police say no citation was issued because no human was behind the wheel. The incident was caught on body cam footage from a nearby traffic stop. The fully autonomous car rolled through a red light just feet from two police officers. One of them said on tape, "That car just ran a red light." But after a short exchange, they laughed it off and said, "Who are we going to give the ticket to?" The moment has triggered fresh debate over how traffic laws and public safety rules apply when there's no human driver. The Albuquerque Police Department told reporters that a ticket requires identifying a driver. Since the car was empty, they say there is no one to cite. Legal experts aren't so sure. Some say police could have cited the company Waymo, which operates the car. Others argue this loophole shows that current laws haven't caught up with AI-driven vehicles. The case comes as robotaxi fleets expand in U.S. cities and collisions involving self-driving cars become more common. Critics warn that without accountability, companies could face fewer consequences than human drivers for the same infractions. OpenAI is reportedly getting ready to launch GPT-5, the next version of its flagship language model, and early testers say it's a major step forward. According to the information, GPT-5 is already in the hands of select enterprise customers. OpenAI staff have privately described the model as materially better than GPT-4, with improvements in logical reasoning, multi-step tasks, and factual accuracy. Unlike GPT-4, which still struggles with hallucinations, GPT-5 is said to be far more reliable in business settings. Testers report that it's better at understanding context and solving problems without needing extensive prompt engineering. That said, GPT-5 won't hit artificial general intelligence, at least not yet. But it might be moving closer, and OpenAI is expanding a dedicated team focused on super alignment, a long-term effort to ensure that future AI systems remain aligned with human values even as they become more intelligent and more capable. Not all features will launch at once. OpenAI may roll out upgrades to voice, vision, and other multimodal capabilities gradually as the model matures. As Google, Meta, and Anthropic also continue their AI arms race, GPT-5 could help OpenAI maintain its lead, but also increase pressure to regulate how these rapidly advancing systems are developed and deployed. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman may have surprised some with the comments he made in recent days, including a podcast appearance where he said, "I get scared sometimes to use certain AI stuff because I don't know how much personal information I want to put in because I don't know who's going to have it." OpenAI is currently facing lawsuits, particularly over how it gathers and uses data to train its models. The company is in a difficult position. It must retain information or risk being accused of destroying evidence. Yet some of that data may be intensely personal. In a separate interview with Business Insider, Altman cautioned users not to overshare with tools like ChatGPT. Noting that some people treat it like a therapist, he warned, "If you are dumping your deepest, darkest secrets, I think you should not have an expectation that that is safe." And what AI knows isn't limited to the questions we ask or the data we provide directly. ChatGPT now has an inbuilt memory that tracks user interactions and uses that history to personalize responses. That includes what we search for, and with this week's launch of agents, which can research and act on our behalf, what AI knows about you could soon be far more substantial. All of this comes as OpenAI prepares to release GPT-5, expected to be its most powerful and widely deployed model to date. Altman has, in fairness, long called for some regulation, but he's also admitted it may be too late to slow down development, especially in a global race towards artificial general intelligence, where not just American competitors, but Chinese competitors are catching up fast and, in some cases, pulling ahead. Last week, Starlink suffered its largest outage since its launch. It lasted about 2.5 hours on July 24th, affecting customers in over 140 countries across North America, Europe, Africa, Asia, and Australia. NetBlocks reported that Starlink's global internet traffic plunged to just 16% of normal activity during the disruption, with more than 60,000 outages reported on platforms like Down Detector. The reported cause, confirmed by SpaceX, was a failure in a key internal software service that operates the core network. It was not hardware or attack-related, but likely triggered by a botched software update or mismanaged configuration that soft-bricked large portions of the network, especially the orchestration of satellite-to-ground and inter-satellite communications. Experts say that even brief outages raise questions about the resilience of a space-based infrastructure as reliance on that infrastructure grows. The incident comes as Starlink is rapidly expanding with its individual service, but also into enterprise, aviation, and even military sectors. It also comes as concerns are raised about a story from Reuters, which claims that Elon Musk cut off services in parts of Ukraine in 2022, which paralyzed the Ukrainian troops who depended on the Starlink for their internet service. So as more of the world relies on Starlink for remote operations, outages like this aren't just technical glitches. They're a reminder that next-gen infrastructure needs old-fashioned resilience planning. And regardless of Musk's motives, it emphasized that not only is there a single point of failure for technical issues, but there's a single individual who can effectively control this network. The outages intensified calls from experts and government regulators to treat mega constellations like Starlink as critical infrastructure, subject to redundancy minimums, transparency protocols, and real-time third-party audits, especially since single-vendor software failures can have planet-scale consequences. And for countries outside the U.S. who may depend on Starlink as part of their critical infrastructure, it may be time to ask whether a single foreign company, or in this case, an individual, should be able to control so much of your critical internet infrastructure. And that's our show for today. Fingers crossed, I'm hoping our distribution problems have been largely solved, but the reporting from our hosting provider is, well, let's just say, less than satisfactory. So if you're listening out there, could you ping us back saying, I'm still here and this is how I listen to you? What provider, whether it's Apple, whether it's Spotify, whatever. It will be a big help. Just use the email editorial@technewsday.ca. That's editorial@technewsday.ca. Or go to our site at technewsday.ca and use the Contact Us tab. It takes you just a minute. It could save us hours of analysis. I'm your host, Jim Love. Have a marvelous Monday.